Have you ever scrolled through social media and felt a strange, sinking feeling in your stomach seeing someone's perfect vacation photo, their new promotion, or their flawless family portrait? What is that quiet, uncomfortable feeling, and why does it have such a powerful grip on us? That feeling is one of humanity's oldest and most misunderstood emotions. It's not just simple jealousy, it's the complex, often hidden force of envy. Today, we're going deep into the heart of this green-eyed monster. We will uncover 25 fascinating facts that explain what envy is, how it secretly controls our behavior, and why it's been a driving force in human history, from ancient tales to your modern-day digital life. Get ready to see yourself, and the people around you, in a completely new light. Fact 1. The core of envy is social comparison. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. You can't be envious of a rock. Envy is born the moment we look at another person and measure our own life, accomplishments, or possessions against theirs. It's an inherently social emotion that requires a target for comparison. Without someone to compare yourself to, the feeling simply cannot arise. This is why it thrives in communities, workplaces, and especially on social platforms where comparison is constant and unavoidable. Fact 2. Your brain processes envy as real physical pain. This is not just a metaphor. Using functional MRI scans, neuroscientists have discovered that when a person feels a strong pang of envy, the part of their brain that lights up is the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex. This is the same area that processes physical pain, like when you stub your toe or burn your hand. So when you say that seeing someone else's success is painful, your brain is agreeing with you on a literal biological level. This explains why envy can feel so deeply uncomfortable and distressing. Fact 3. The direct opposite of envy's pain is a specific type of pleasure. There is a German word for it, Schadenfreude. It means finding joy in the misfortune of others. And here is the fascinating connection. Studies show that the more intensely you envy someone, the more pleasure you will feel if something bad happens to them. The same brain scanning experiments revealed that when an envied person experiences a setback, the reward center of the envier's brain, the ventral striatum, lights up. It's the same part that responds to things like winning money or eating delicious food. Envy creates the pain, and Schadenfreude is the brain's way of delivering a rewarding relief from that pain. Fact 4. Not all envy is destructive. Psychologists make a very important distinction between two types of envy, malicious envy and benign envy. Malicious envy is the classic negative version we all think of. It's the feeling that makes you want to pull the other person down. It's characterized by thoughts like, "He doesn't deserve that, and I wish he would lose it." But benign envy is different. It is more like admiration with a sting. It can motivate you to improve yourself. Instead of wanting to pull the other person down, you want to lift yourself up to their level. Seeing a friend run a marathon might trigger benign envy that inspires you to start training too. It is envy as a catalyst for growth. Fact 5. We are most envious of unexpected success. A person's success stings much more when we didn't see it coming. If your colleague has been working hard on a project for a year and gets a promotion, you might feel a pang of envy, but it's understandable. However, if a different colleague who you perceive as doing very little suddenly wins a major award or gets a surprise promotion, the envy you feel is likely to be much more intense. The perceived unfairness and surprise of the achievement amplify the pain of the social comparison. Our brains are wired to expect a certain order, and when that order is violated by someone else's sudden good fortune, envy hits hard. Fact 6. The closer the person is, the stronger the envy. This is one of the cruel paradoxes of this emotion. We rarely envy global superstars or historical figures in a truly painful way. We might admire them, but their lives are too distant from our own reality. The most potent and painful envy is reserved for people in our immediate circle, our siblings, our close friends, our colleagues, our neighbors. It is the person who is just one step ahead of you on the career ladder, or the friend who buys a house when you are still renting. The similarity of their life to yours is what makes their advantage feel so significant and personal. The closer their starting point was to yours, the more their success highlights what you lack. Fact 7. Social media is an envy-amplifying machine. If envy is fueled by social comparison, then platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok are like pouring gasoline on a fire. These platforms encourage us to present a curated, idealized version of our lives. We post our biggest wins, our most beautiful photos, and our happiest moments. When we scroll through our feeds, we are not seeing reality. We are seeing a highlight reel of everyone else's life, which we then compare to the behind-the-scenes reality of our own. This creates a constant, distorted loop of social comparison that is practically designed to generate feelings of inadequacy and envy on a massive, unprecedented scale. It is a modern-day factory for the green-eyed monster. Fact 8. Envy is a master of disguise. Because it is socially unacceptable and painful to admit, this powerful emotion rarely shows its true face. Instead, it masquerades as other, more justifiable behaviors. The most common disguise is gossip. When you hear a group of people criticizing a successful acquaintance, what you are often witnessing is a collective release of envy. It feels safer to attack someone's character as a group than to face your individual feelings of inferiority. Another clever mask is righteous indignation. We might frame our envy as a concern for fairness, saying things like, "It is just not right that they got that promotion. They did not work for it." We convince ourselves we are fighting for justice, when in reality we are just trying to soothe the sting of someone else's success. Fact 9. Your self-esteem acts as a shield against envy. The strength of your sense of self-worth is one of the biggest factors determining how susceptible you are to envy. When you have low self-esteem, you tend to view the world as a zero-sum game. Someone else's success feels like your failure. Their gain feels like it takes something away from you. This is because your identity is fragile and externally validated. However, a person with healthy self-esteem can see another person succeed and feel genuine happiness for them, because their own self-worth is not threatened. They understand that another person's light does not dim their own. This is why building internal confidence is one of the most powerful ways to disarm the green-eyed monster. Fact 10. Envy is a silent killer of teamwork and innovation in the workplace. It thrives in competitive environments where recognition is scarce and favoritism is perceived. An envious colleague is not a collaborative one. They might subtly sabotage a project, forget to share crucial information, or try to take credit for another person's work. This creates an atmosphere of distrust and secrecy, where people are more focused on outdoing their peers than on achieving collective goals. It stifles creativity because people become afraid to share their best ideas, fearing they will be stolen or criticized out of spite. A workplace riddled with envy is a workplace that cannot grow. Fact 11. The rules of envy change depending on where you are in the world. Culture plays a huge role in what we envy and how we are allowed to show it. In highly individualistic societies, like those in North America and Western Europe, envy is often directed at material wealth and public status. Competition is often encouraged, and displaying success is seen as a sign of competence. In more collectivist societies, common in Asia and parts of Africa, the dynamic is different. There, envy from the community can be seen as a dangerous force, sometimes referred to as the evil eye. As a result, people may go to great lengths to downplay their successes to avoid inciting envy and maintain social harmony. Flaunting wealth or achievement could lead to social isolation rather than admiration. Fact 12. The phrase "consumed by envy" is more literal than you think. This emotion doesn't just hurt your feelings, it can harm your physical health. Chronic envy puts your body in a constant state of stress. This sustained stress response floods your system with hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Over time, this can lead to a whole menu of physical ailments, including elevated blood pressure, digestive issues, a compromised immune system, and chronic fatigue. It's a clear example of how a purely psychological state can have profound and damaging effects on our physical bodies. It is a slow-acting poison, born in the mind but attacking the body. Fact 13. Men and women often envy along different lines, shaped by both evolution and society. While the core emotion is the same, research consistently shows that the triggers for envy can differ by gender. Men are more often socialized to value and compete over things related to status, power, and financial resources. Therefore, they are more likely to feel intense envy toward a rival who has achieved greater professional success or has more wealth. Women are often socialized to place a higher value on social currency and relationships. As a result, they may be more prone to feeling envy related to physical attractiveness, popularity, and the success of their romantic relationships or family life. These are, of course, broad tendencies, not rigid rules. Fact 14. The modern economy runs on envy. It is the fuel for consumerism. Advertising rarely sells you a product, it sells you a better version of yourself. Commercials and social media ads work by first making you feel a sense of lack or envy. They present you with images of people who are happier, more attractive, or living more exciting lives. Then, they present their product as the magical solution to bridge that gap. This cycle, creating desire through comparison and then offering a purchasable solution, is the engine of our entire materialist culture. The feeling of needing to keep up with the Joneses is simply envy that has been weaponized and monetized on a global scale. Fact 15. Envy is the most taboo of all emotions. We live in a culture where it is increasingly acceptable to talk openly about our anxieties, our sadness, or our anger. We have a language for these feelings. But envy remains locked away in shame. To admit you are envious is to make a raw confession of your own perceived inferiority. It is saying, you have something I desperately want and I feel diminished because of it. Because of this deep-seated taboo, envy operates underground. It's a powerful hidden current that influences our friendships, our career choices, and our sense of happiness, all while we pretend it is not there. This denial is what gives envy much of its destructive power. Fact 16. The feeling of envy is deeply rooted in a scarcity mindset. This is the subconscious belief that good things in the world, like success, happiness, and opportunities, are a limited resource, like a single pie. If someone else gets a big slice, it automatically means there is less pie available for you. This mindset creates a constant feeling of competition and threat. The opposite of this is an abundance mindset, which is the belief that there is plenty to go around. A person with an abundance mindset can see someone else succeed and think, that is great for them, and it shows that success is possible for me too. Your underlying belief about whether the world is scarce or abundant directly controls the volume of your envy. Fact 17. Envy is a star character in our oldest stories and myths for a reason. These tales serve as timeless warnings about its destructive potential. The biblical story of Cain and Abel is perhaps the most famous example. Cain's envy over his brother's favor leads him to commit the first recorded act of severe violence. In Greek mythology, the goddess Hera's relentless envy of the mortal women Zeus admired fueled countless tragedies. And in fairy tales like Snow White, the evil queen's envy of Snow White's beauty drives the entire plot. These stories have survived for centuries because they tap into a fundamental and dangerous truth about the human condition. Fact 18. There is a strong and dangerous link between chronic envy and feelings of deep sadness or depression. Envy forces your mind into a constant loop of negative social comparison. You are perpetually focused on what you lack, which reinforces feelings of inadequacy and hopelessness. This pattern of negative thinking is a well-known pathway to developing depressive symptoms. It is a vicious cycle. Envy makes you feel bad about yourself, which lowers your self-esteem, which in turn makes you even more susceptible to feeling envious of others. It drags you downward, making it harder and harder to see the good in your own life. Fact 19. We are not just victims of envy, we are also managers of it. When we achieve something significant, we often instinctively know that it might provoke envy in our friends or family. To protect our relationships, we engage in what sociologists call envy management. This can take many forms. We might downplay our success by saying, "Oh, I just got lucky," or "It's not as great as it looks." We might immediately follow up our good news with a piece of bad news or a self-deprecating joke to make ourselves seem more human and less threatening. This is a delicate social dance we do to enjoy our success without alienating the people we care about. Fact 20. Envy acts like a blinder, making you incapable of seeing your own good fortune. Your attention is a finite resource. When you focus it intensely on someone else's life and what they possess, you are by definition ignoring your own. It is like standing in a beautiful garden that you planted yourself, but spending all your time peering through the fence at your neighbor's yard. You become so obsessed with the one flower they have that you fail to notice the dozens of beautiful flowers blooming right at your own feet. This is why practicing gratitude is often cited as a direct antidote to envy. It forces your attention back to your own garden. Fact 21. The most painful envy is often not for material things, but for intangible qualities. While we might envy a friend's new car or bigger house, that feeling can often be resolved by a plan to acquire something similar. The truly deep and difficult envy is directed at things we feel we can never obtain. We envy someone's natural charisma, their effortless wit, their seemingly unshakable self-confidence, or their peaceful and happy disposition. These are qualities of being, not having. Because there is no clear roadmap to acquiring them, this type of envy can feel much more profound and lead to a deeper sense of personal failure. Fact 22. Paradoxically, strong envy can lead to self-sabotage. You might think that envying someone's success would motivate you to work harder, and sometimes it does, as we saw with benign envy. But for many, the feeling is so overwhelming that it paralyzes them. The fear of trying and failing to reach the level of the envied person is so great that it feels safer not to try at all. A student who envies the class genius might stop studying for exams. An aspiring artist who envies a successful peer might stop painting. It is a defensive mechanism of the ego. By giving up, you create an excuse for your lack of success and avoid the ultimate pain of a direct, failed comparison. Fact 23. Envy is a map that points directly to your unfulfilled desires. This might be one of its only redeeming qualities. That painful pang is not random, it is a highly specific signal. If you feel envy, instead of wallowing in the feeling or lashing out, you can use it as a tool for self-discovery. Ask yourself, what exactly am I envious of? Is it their career? Their relationship? Their creative skill? The answer is a spotlight on what you truly value and feel is missing from your own life. Envy, in this sense, is a harsh but incredibly honest guide, pointing you toward the goals you might have been afraid to admit you wanted. It is a compass that uses pain as its needle. Fact 24. The direct emotional opposite of envy has a name, and practicing it is like building an antidote. In Buddhist philosophy, there is a concept called mudita. It means sympathetic or vicarious joy, the ability to feel genuine happiness for the good fortune of others. It is the polar opposite of schadenfreude. While envy comes from a place of scarcity and comparison, mudita comes from a place of abundance and connection. It is the feeling of a parent watching their child succeed, or a true friend celebrating your victory as if it were their own. Cultivating mudita is an active practice. It is a conscious choice to celebrate others, and like any mental muscle, it gets stronger the more you use it, gradually starving the green-eyed monster of its power. Fact 25. Ultimately, envy is a story you tell yourself, and you have the power to change the ending. At its core, every feeling of envy is built on a narrative of lack. The story says, they have something that makes them better, and I am lesser for not having it. This story feels true, but it is not a fact. It is an interpretation. Recognizing this is the key to freedom. You are the author of your internal story. You can choose to stop telling the story of scarcity and comparison. Instead, you can choose to write a different one, a story of your own unique journey, a story of gratitude for what you do have, and a story of using others' success not as a measure of your failure, but as an inspiration for what is possible. So what is the most critical takeaway from all of this? After peeling back all 25 layers, what is the one secret that can truly change your relationship with this powerful emotion? It is the simple but profound discovery that envy is not just a monster that attacks you from the outside. It is an internal alarm system, and a deeply flawed storyteller. It is a part of your programming that is trying to protect you and help you compete, but it is using outdated and painful methods. The significance of this is immense. It means you are not powerless. It means that envy is not a final judgment on your worth. It is just data. When you feel that familiar sting, you can stop and ask, what is this feeling trying to tell me about what I truly want? And what is the story I am telling myself right now? Is this story helping me, or is it holding me back? This shift in perspective transforms everything. It moves you from being a passive victim of a painful emotion to being an active interpreter of a valuable signal. You learn to listen to the message without being consumed by the pain. We have journeyed through the painful neuroscience of envy, seen how it disguises itself in our daily interactions, and uncovered how it secretly powers our modern world. But most importantly, we have discovered that this ancient green-eyed monster is not invincible. We learned it is weakened by self-esteem, disarmed by gratitude, and can be transformed from a destructive force into a catalyst for our own growth. If this exploration has shed new light on an old emotion for you, consider joining our community by subscribing for more deep dives into the human mind. Hit the like button to let us know you found this valuable. And now, we want to hear from you. What was the most surprising fact for you? And more importantly, how do you plan to rewrite the story of envy in your own life? Share your thoughts and strategies in the comments below. Let's turn this taboo subject into a supportive and open conversation.